Well, hiya. So, welcome back to another stream, which I'm still setting up. Um, Where, oh, where did I put that? Found it. Okay. Yeah. Then I have everything I need. Oh, stop it. So I've finished printing the base for this lovely colorful beast, and it's quite the base, but I mean, it's a fitting size. I've drilled some holes and put some pins into the base itself, like there, and also to the feet of this beast here, because I've resized him at 140%, which is quite the big boy. And the thing is, the only parts he would be attached to the base were like, one, focus, these very, very small little feet. And he is positioned in a bit of an angle, so the entire weight would be distributed on these two tiny feet. um, I didn't see that happen. Like, I can glue it in place, but it just won't stay. I'm sure of it. So yeah, I pinned the base. I pinned his feet. And what do I see there? Something shiny. Ah, little metallic flake. So yeah, my hopes are, as soon as I've painted his base, then I can pull these pins out and stick his feet into the same place and then bend them so he will be positioned in this angle. I hope it works. This is the first time ever that I have pinned a miniature and base, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see. I still have to finish his sword thingy. I'm not really sure what it is. Looks like a big baseball bat. I have no idea. I'm going to paint it as a sword anyway. Still haven't glued him in place, but that's okay. And with his weapon, I also need to paint the base, of course. And I'm thinking like deserty with some rocky bits, perhaps. Which color did I had in mind? Like a bit of a yellowy brown, like these, mix between these. I think that should work. Not too yellow because he's already quite yellow himself. But just some hints here and there. I think that should work. So yeah, let's see if I can make that happen. Let's put him aside. Stay. And let's see if I still have some space left on my wet palettes, as I've been painting all day. And I forgot to clean my palettes. Seems like I forget at least one thing every time. Sorry about that. It's who I am. Chaotic. So let me see what kind of brushes I have. This might not be a paintbrush, but it works wonderful. It's an old makeup brush that I didn't use for my makeup. So for paints, why not? I am thinking about the wet blend technique that I've done with the tiles of that miniature I painted last time. So the colors can blend with each other all by themselves, and it will create this more natural gradients, I think. Should be good. So let's see. That's better. Brown. Some yellow. Also, I feel like adding maybe a third color. I'm thinking about green. Would that be weird? Probably. But yeah, who cares? It's a very colorful beast. A beast that doesn't exist. Why can't there be green in the desert? Green, green, green. Not too vibrant. Maybe this one? I mean, in combination with these? Could totally work. Let's go for it. Oop. Apparently it was clogged a bit. It's not anymore. Oh my god. It's a great start of the stream. Let's suck a bit back into the bottle. One of those days. So adding water to the base. And let the paint blend. A bit more water. I would probably go for a couple of layers to create some depth. This step looks always a bit weird, but when everything is dry and I can add the shadows and highlights, it will become a bit less weird. Or maybe just weird enough. Going to mute the sound for a bit so I can blow dry this thing. Be right back. Well, to be honest, I kind of like it. Sides are a bit wet. Do not want to smear that on my model. I mean, yeah, I like that. Fuck yeah. Just, could you please? Thank you. Going to add a bit more dark browns to the deepest parts. Let's clean that brush first. Let's see. The tiniest amounts of green, because they really make a difference in this little landscape. I think I made the right choice with that green. Something like that. Let's go back to drying that. So be right back. That almost looks like you can eat it. Maybe it was better to eat it 3 days ago, but maybe... Yeah, I think it's cool. So these are now my base colors, and the base needs some shadow, it needs some highlights. So I'm going back to what I've done before with the entire miniature, which is dark purple in the shadows and a light yellow into the highlights. So I'm going to mix that up. Purple. And I'm going to keep that layer nice and thin as to not to disrupt this too much. Let's see. This definitely needs a bit more shadow. You can always use your fingers. I will also have to look for where the animal is positioned so I can add some shadows to the correct location, which is important, of course. He's not hovering far above the ground, so he will have a shadow. I always start so carefully with the shadows, and then when the button is turned, switch is turned, however you say that, I'll just go for it. I thinned my paint down just a bit more. It was a bit too strong. And I can always go for a second layer. I especially like these rocks. They look very natural. Oh, that's fine. You enjoy your assembly. I'm probably with my head towards this piece right here. I really enjoy things like this, so I'm not looking up to my screen that much. Usually I have my phone for reading the chat and I have it in front of me, so I only have to look up. But the battery of my phone was quite low and I didn't have the time to charge it before the stream. I was doing 20 things at the same time and almost forgot the time. So I have my chat on the PC screen at the moment and I have to check like this. For my camel, yeah, if you want to call that. Colors suit him, right? I mean, it doesn't pop that much just yet, but I will get there. For my weird little camel. Mm. How is he positioned? Like this? I believe it's like this. I really like this base. There's so much to see. I'm not sure if you can see that on camera as well, but there's a lot of texture. I think it's very cool. Can I, whoops, don't touch the lights. Damn it. Thank you, I hope so as well. It should be okay since I'm using the same color shadow and the same color highlight. You can get away with a lot of crazy ideas as long as you do that. I think it's almost ready for the highlights. And then probably we'll add more shadows once the highlights are done. I always double check after the highlights because you will see where the erased bits need more shadow to be more realistic. Not sure if that's the correct name, but it's close enough. Little bit of a light yellow. Let's see if he's positioned like this. Trying to find the raised bits by sketching them in. I wonder if this is a mold made with real rocks or if they sculpted this piece, because it looks so realistic. Huh? Ava? I mean, you could also dry brush anything like this, but I like to keep more control over where to add the colors and where not. So I like to just layer instead of a dry brush. Nothing wrong with dry brush. It's just not something that suits my style, I think. A while ago, I almost got into a fight with somebody verbally because I said I didn't use the dry brush technique, and he felt like it was an insult. And um, apparently, I said without I didn't even say that, but according to him, I thought that dry brushing was a bad technique or something. um, he got quite pissed off and showed me all the great names of people who also still use the dry brush technique, and it was so weird. I mean, dry brushing is fine, it's just not something that I use. And I mean, that's okay, right? I mean, I also don't do washes. So what? I mean, everybody has their own preferences. And I'm not saying something is wrong with using washes or using dry brush technique, or if you want to slather your models with Nuln oil, go for it. I mean, if that's what you like, I'm totally fine with that. It's just not something that I do. Just have to think about that while I mentioned dry brushing and the silly conversations I sometimes have online. Mm, I do not want to mess up that part, but need more highlights. How dare you? Yeah, I don't know. I think I should check where the animal is placed so I can be sure where her shadow is going, and with that where the highlights should be placed. So let's see if my idea worked. Let's get that pin out. I thought it would be a good idea to keep a pin in place before priming it, just in case it would get clogged and I had to re-drill again. Oh, let go. That's one. The other. Ah, that was easier. These small little holes. Maybe keep that there. Right there. So let's see if this actually works. Come on, get in there. Why don't you want to go? And then suddenly it shoots right into my finger. Ah, lovely. Let's zoom out a bit. It's in the correct position. Ooh. I think that's pretty cool. It's nice in the center. And it's quite sturdy. So I only have to bend these in place, and the position was done perfectly because now I can bend them into the crevice of the base. Also, guess who made this? They're not called Lord of the Print anymore. It's now Rescale Miniatures, but same company. Great stuff. So with him in place, back in, I can now decide where to place the shadow. I mean, where does the sun come from? I have the shadows a bit in the middle. So let's say the sun comes from here, the shadow goes back. Let's go with that. Thinning my shadow color just a bit more. Yeah, just go for it. Well, it depends. To be honest, with Warhammer and stuff, I never removed all the mold lines. With some commissions, I still don't. Not just the Warhammer commissions, I barely do those, but some miniatures, they have the most awful mold lines, and it would take forever to get rid of them in a perfect way. So sometimes I just leave them on depending on what kind of commission I have, of course. If they want perfection, I will remove them. If it's just a fun color on your table kind of thing, I'm not bothered by removing everything. But yeah, they will pick up the paint if you will dry brush them. So something you have to keep in mind if that's something you care about or maybe don't at all. I mean, probably somebody now who wants to burn me on the stake for not removing mold lines. But you do what you do, and I will do what is good for me. Also, I still need to finish this side. Need a bit more black into that mix. Cat is yelling in the background. Let me turn off my mic again and blow dry this for a bit. I think that shadow needs to be a bit darker, but it works fine already. Just want it a bit darker, so just a bit more black. That looks like a shadow. I think that's as dark as I'll go. And now I can add more highlights. Maybe also go for a bit of light brown here and there. I think that shadow looks very natural. I do feel like there's something missing. Probably because the base is so huge. Maybe some vegetation would be cool. I'm not sure if I have anything ready. Let me quickly check if I have some printed grass or something. Looks like I only have a piece of rock. This tiny little printed rock. I mean, one isn't enough. Multiple would be cool, I think. Mm. But I cannot do magic and get them right now. So I will have to do something with my colors. But what? But what? For some deeper shadows. Hey. Fine. Hi. You calling me a camel? Would you please behave? Thank you. Mm, 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 mm. Let's still paint on it. Nasty. Mm. Fair enough. Yeah, sometimes the entire program kicks me out and it will pop back on its own. But sometimes it's just the camera, but it still said it's on, it's recording, but I don't know. But yeah, it works again. Mm, I think I'm going to set him in place as it is nice and sturdy. Let me cut that a bit shorter. Hey, it didn't fly across the room. That one did. And a drop of glue underneath. A little Lord of the Print commercial. So far, they really like my paint job. They've shared my work on Instagram, which was pretty cool. I mean, it's also it's nice when people like your work, but if the creator of the mini likes it, it's double. Yeah, I was very pleased with that. Mm, can still see a bit of that metal poking out. Just going to paint that a dark shade of brown, which I still have on my palette. Make it a bit less visible. What? Should put some googly eyes on this camera so I can treat it like a person. We can get into fights. Which colors should I paint the trim? Definitely not black. Should I just go for a dark purple instead? Yeah, let's do that. Bigger brush would be preferable. Purple and black. I think that's a good color. I mean, black is it's a standard color for the trim, but there's not any black in this piece, so it's a bit intrusive. My glove is stuck to the glue. Forgot about that. Again, stop it. That should work better. Was working with the last bit of paint on the palette, and it was so thin I would probably have to use 2 or 3 layers. So I mixed a bit more, and this is a better consistency. leaving small bits of myself behind. Also today I finished a project for a Kickstarter, and I'll show it when I'm done with this, because I'm finally allowed to. And it had to be done before tomorrow, and I finished it this afternoon, so nice timing. Would be better if I had finished it yesterday or something, but it's still on time. And I am very pleased with the end results. I have to say, now I'm painting the trim, the base doesn't look as plain anymore. I mean, I like it. Goedenavond. And thank you. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen how far I ended up last time, but I painted his base today. Nice and colorful. Added a nice shadow. And he is pinned because that's not much surface to glue. So I pinned him, glued the pins in place. Are you finally dry? Yes. I think those colors work nicely. A bit of green to contrast the reds, yellow and purple. I mean, I think it's good. I think I'm going to give him just a bit more shadow. Feels a bit too bland. Making connection with chat. What is going on today? Thin layers. Let's see. Don't slap the lights. And the easy thing, if you're working with the same shadow and highlight colors, you can just use a thinned down version of those and just add them wherever is needed. So I'm just using a thinned down purple black mix. I just realized something. I haven't painted his saddle. And I was thinking about calling him done after this. Going to keep that color. See if I can match it with the acrylics. I think that's very close to what I have, maybe a bit darker. Is that too dark? That works. Ooh, very close. Let's add some shadows. I am really running out of space on my wet palettes. Quite tricky to paint with the rider on, but I totally forgot about having to finish the saddle. Was so focused on that base, my mind said, almost done. Well, unfortunately, you are wrong. Trying so hard not to mess this up. Oh, but it makes me nervous. Mm. I think these shadows are close to what I had in mind. So let's add some highlights. Create that same color again. Close enough. Especially for a highlight color. Not too much. Up there. Ciao Snowmats. Snowmats. Nice name. And welcome to me trying not to mess up what I've done before this. I thought I was done, but I had not finished the saddle yet. And now I'm painting very nervously because I'm scared to mess it up. Thank you very much. I'm currently painting the saddle of this Windglider. It's a miniature by Rescale Miniatures, or their old name, Lord of the Prince. Painted the base today and some finishing touches. And then I realized I forgot to paint the saddle. So currently working on the highlights of the saddle. I already had the base color on, so it was just adding the shadows and highlights. Not too bad, but it's quite scary to paint something in between all these finished parts. Especially with these things, like I'm constantly stuck with my brush. So sometimes I slap the model, sometimes I slap the light. It's nerve-wracking. Let's add some scratchy bits, as it is a leather saddle. Don't want it to look too smooth. Adds a bit more character to it. One more highlight. So adding a bit more white to that previous mix. Not too light, not too much paint, just to add a bit more oomph to the edges. Especially where those scratches are. For my paints, I use a combination of Scale 75 and Greenstuffworld paints. For some of my miniatures, I also use Chimera, but this is a mix of Scale 75 and Greenstuffworld. And for the beast, I actually used gouache paint. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Let's see. It's this one from Winsor and Newton. And this is how I started this project. I was wondering if I could use gouache for miniature painting. The answer was yes, but you have to seal in every couple of layers with a varnish, a spray-on varnish, because gouache is something you can reactivate with water. And my idea was, if you can reactivate it, maybe you can make some very nice transitions. And as you can see, you can. But it was quite scary to go for the second layer, because if you use too much water, you would be straight onto the primer again. And I had to repeat. So every couple of layers, when I wanted to save my work, I had to spray it with varnish and very thin layers, just a mist for a couple of layers. And after that, I started to add layers with the acrylic paints, which worked a bit faster. But yeah, I was just wondering, can you use gouache? Yes, so it was a good test. Bit more highlights here. And I mean, sometimes you just have to try a silly idea just because you can. Stop slapping everything. I swear, the moment when I say I'm done, I will slap my paint light with the back of my brush and add a white stripe over everything. Something like that. Hello, good evening, Dips. Oh no, it's not for a competition. This is just a fun little project. I wanted to play with colors, and as you can see, I quite managed to do that. Even with the base, added some greens, some yellow and brown. And after that I added shadows with a purple and black and highlights with a very light yellow. And that is something I do with all my colors. All my shadow colors are mixed with purple and black, and the highlights are mixed with a very light yellow, so yellow and white, because purple and yellow are each other's opposites, and it creates a very strong contrast. And I really like that for my paint jobs, so I do that with everything. You write from another planet? Which planet is that? Also, no worries about your English. I constantly trip over my words. I'm not English myself. So we're all here using our hands and feet to hopefully communicate. Italy planet. Well, hello, Mr. from the Italy planet. Oh, and also I was very focused on this side. So this is how it looked before all the shadows and highlights. So this is the end result of the gouache. And after this, I started the highlights and shadows with acrylics, which ended like this. There's only so much time when I'm streaming, so I was focusing on this side, and the other side is something that I will fix for myself. But it is very colorful, and I've been focusing on placing highlights on the correct places. It's all matte paint, so every shimmer you see is painted on. Some little details on his, we call those things, his bedrolls. Thank you very much. Oh, right. Would you like to see the thing I finished for the Kickstarter that has to be done for tomorrow? I have not been able to post about it on my Instagram just yet, but I am allowed to show it to you. as the Kickstarter will go live tomorrow, if I'm correct. Where did I put it? My desk is chaos. Other desk. And then trip and fall. So this could you please just not mess with my whites? Thank you. This is a piece called A Phantom of the Opera. Wait, let's just get rid of the white sheet. And this piece is made by Signum Games. Yeah, just a couple of details. And this piece has also the black and purple in the shadows and the light yellow in the highlights. So my style is still the same. Two completely different pieces, but they still match. But yeah, there is quite some details in there. Like this little lady. Not sure how far I can zoom in, but she even has pupils while she is very, very small. I mean, I have some pictures on her on my Instagram. Maybe you've seen her online. I mean, we're online now. Sheesh. Maybe on my Instagram or my Facebook. There are a couple of people who are painting this piece. I believe Angel Giraldes is one of them. I'm not sure, but I think it was him who is also painting this piece. But Mr. Phantom, I can't really show him off that well. For OSL, the rest needs to be darker. You can only see glow coming from an object if the surroundings are darker, and I feel the rest of the piece is very light. So if you have a candle in broad daylight, you won't have a glow from it. So this feels like it's daylight. And I did make the surroundings of the candles just a bit darker, just to give a bit of that idea, but I didn't want to push it too far as it wouldn't fit the colorful, bright colors of the rest. Well, thank you. That's quite the compliment, actually. And I really like to paint fabric. I mean, working with the highlights, especially here in the back. I really enjoyed that. Oh yeah, my Instagram is the same name as here. It's Kielig Paint Job. It's quite easy to find, actually. I use it for everything, like my Facebook, my Instagram, YouTube as well. On YouTube, I post the Twitch streams as they will be deleted from Twitch after a week. So I will post everything on YouTube as well. And also for the people who can't watch this live due to other time zones or anything, they can still watch it on YouTube. So yeah, I hope everybody likes this. I mean, I certainly do. Painted them quite fast, but this style I'm using can be quite a fast style because I have my set colors. It doesn't matter if I use green or blue or pink. I will always mix it with the purple and the black and the very light yellow. So it's something I can repeat and with that get some speed in there. Wait a sec, I'm waiting. What are we waiting for? Let me check. All my notifications off. They just asked me if I can do a landscape video for the Kickstarter page, which I can. Whoops. Will do in a second. Snowmats, found you. Always easy when people use the same names. It's almost time for me to go. My accent is definitely not American. I mean, my Dutch isn't even just Dutch. Colors for the boats. Let me show you. Whoops, don't slap it. Oh god. I'm so clumsy. I used this brown, purple, black, and this one. So this brown leather is my base color. Then I will mix in some of the purple and black for the shadows. And I will mix some banana splits, a very light yellow with the brown to create the highlights. So you end up with that. I mean, you could see that, right? Now you know it. And the same is for the green. I only take out the brown and add the green. And same for that dress. Take out the green, add a red. So I do that with every single color, even for the gold. I painted everything gold at first. Just a true metallic gold. And then I added a dark purple wash, which I made with my two colors, the purple and the black, covered the entire thing. And then with the light yellow added highlights. So even my gold fits to the rest. Oh, you're colorblind. My husband is as well. Which version do you have? If I may ask, of course. I'm very nosy. Oh, for the leather, I always use the same color. Ah, same. I always use this color for my leather. I really like that. It's a red brown and it feels a bit more warm, like his reins. So I always use this color for my leathers. But yeah, I'm slowly switching to scale color, back to scale color actually. And I could just simply add a bit of red to that one and get the same color, I think. But yeah, this one's for Kickstarter. Got it done in time. Very pleased with that. They still need a horizontal video, so I'll have to do that after the stream. I mean, sheesh. I film everything vertically because of the phone and Instagram and such. But yeah, it would be nice to have a video like this as well. This part I kept the minis off. I kept the boat off. And also this entire piece, this larger piece, I kept that off for quite a while as well. So I could simply paint the water and then add the boat to it. I could paint the fabrics without the boat being in the way. And as for the miniatures, they are pressed into place. You can see the circles around it, but they can come off the rest of the diorama. But I really enjoyed painting her. I mean, she's super tiny, but the fabric of the dress is amazing. Also very pleased with the colors because of the red and the green being next to each other. It pops way more than if I would have chosen another color. Rhinox hide, I think that's quite near the colors I'm using for my leather. It's a bit darker. It's been years since I used Citadel paints, but I use that one a lot as well. Ooh, damn it, almost dropped it. Oh, I'm going to give myself a heart attack today. But it is time for me to go as it is 9:30 and my alarm goes at 5. So I really have to go today. And I will be back on Friday, same time as today, so 7:30 to 9:30. And in the meantime, I'm online on Instagram. Like, if you want to say anything, I will be online on Instagram. Stop slapping stuff. Okay. I hope you enjoyed this stream. And I will also take some pictures of the end result of the beast on his base and post them on Instagram as well. I was planning to go to the UK Games Expo, but the person who would take me to it suddenly stopped going to those events and he's now in America. So I'm not going anymore. Sorry. I still have to get a passport, which I don't have. You know what? I think my camera noticed me saying I am going offline, and it said, so let me just go offline and not row across in a thingy. But yeah, thank you for being here, and hope to see you on Instagram or next Friday back here on Twitch. So have a good evening, have a good rest of the day, and see you next time. Bye.